Good evening, welcome to Cardiff City TV.
He'll shoot and he'll score! One in the area! And it's not within
Good evening, welcome to Cardiff City TV for tonight's live coverage with the Bluebirds travelling to Oakwell in South Yorkshire for what is for less of a crunch match than we anticipated after that unexpected win against Nottingham Forest at the weekend, but still presents a huge opportunity for Cardiff to take all 3 points and continue moving in the right direction. Ashley James here alongside my colleague as ever, John Donovan, and we're going to try something new this evening. We're going to try a bit of positivity heading into this game at Oakwell, a place we've had recent success in. John, over the years, strangely, before the first lockdown, the scene of the last game of football with fans in attendance, with Patterson and Volks doing contrasting and comparative celebrations, but also somewhere where Cardiff have enjoyed success. That fight-back performance on Mick McCarthy's first game in charge, and now we find ourselves seemingly at the precipice of another new era in Cardiff off the back of a very encouraging transfer window, but also, more importantly, a very encouraging performance on Sunday.
Absolutely, Ash, and it's still very much a work in progress, and there's still going to be bumps in the road, but I wasn't present on Sunday, so I watched it from afar, and I was very impressed with what I saw, very impressed with the new signings, very impressed with the shape, very impressed for the first time in a long time being able to go down both sides. That's been a bugbear of mine, for a while now, and that's no criticism of people like Perry NG, who I should say I thought was outstanding. As a centre half, a modern day centre half, somebody comfortable on the ball who could step out. So Sunday was very good and something to build on. We have had success at Barnsley previously. It's a very, very important game. We're far from out of the woods yet, but you would say that it's almost an imperative must-win for Barnsley, in the sense that, quite a few points now behind Cardiff. 14 plays 26. They need to start reeling Cardiff back in, because it's probably just Cardiff and Peterborough who are the teams they're looking at to catch. I've had a little bet with you that if Barnsley lose tonight, there might be a former West Brom manager who comes back in very shortly to Oakwell. But I think this is Barnsley's kind of last throw of the dice tonight. Very, very important game for Cardiff. Cardiff might have to weather a storm, Ash, I think, in the early stages. But I think they've got the character to do that now. And I think under Steve Morison, he's talked about executing game plans. And I think they have been executing game plans. So I think he can set up tonight. I think we can look to hit them on the break. And I'm looking for that positivity to continue. Team
news for tonight then. Just the one change for Cardiff. It's an enforced one. Joe Rolls ruled out after picking up that knock late on against Nottingham Forest. Obviously didn't complete the 90 minutes. Was forced off about 8 minutes from the end there with a knock. It's nothing serious. Maybe don't expect to see him at the weekend, but certainly for Peterborough we'd expect him to be back in the running. So not serious, but a knock which is going to rule him out this evening. So in comes Will Volks, who of course finished the game at the weekend. It's the only change for the Bluebirds, so a chance for a relatively new 11 to get to grips with each other again, because they won't have seen each other much on the training pitch in between. They're not going to see each other much on the training pitch in this next month. It is frantic. It's the championship we've learnt to expect over the years and haven't really seen a lot of in December and January, but it's really harum scarum stuff.
It is. I think Steve Morison has been planning for this. I think, I think everyone's quite impressed about how we went about our transfer window business, and I think targets were identified, certainly positional targets were identified. Steve Morison knew what he wanted. So I think work on the training ground has probably been building towards that, with the idea of personnel coming into the building who could fulfil roles that maybe we didn't have strength and depth in before. So credit to Steve Morison for that. Yes, it's a new team, and one swallow doesn't make a summer. We were excellent on Sunday, albeit still giving away a couple of chances here and there, and we probably earned our luck, but we generated that luck through the sheer hard work and press and structure we put out. But you've set a level now. I saw a few people say that. It's all about, in sports, setting a standard. Now that standard has been set. It's about doing it consistently. So I'd be very disappointed if Cardiff City dropped off tonight. I don't expect it, but as I say, I think Barnsley are going to come at them hammer and tong in the early stages of this one.
Off the back of that excellent bird-based idiom there from John, let's hear what Steve Morison has to say ahead of this evening's game with Barnsley.
So yeah, look, I'm really pleased. I think we've got our work done in a steady and orderly manner, and obviously we had the key for one going around our heads as well at the on the outside of it, which was just like a sideshow really, because we were bringing players in anyway. I said we didn't want to let him go. That wasn't just something I was saying just to put in the press. Like, why would we want to let him go? But I wanted to try and get the version back of Kiefer that was here last year, and not the version that we've had this year. And I said, I'm sure he'll up his levels now he's gone to Bournemouth. But yeah, no, I'm really pleased. I think you want to look at it and be in a better place than you was before you started it, and I think we're definitely that. We've got excellent options in areas. We've got players to back those players up. We've got experience. We've got youth. We've got a bit of everything, and now we've got some more pace in the team we didn't have before. So yeah, I think looking off the back of the game on Sunday, I know it's one game, one good result, but I think everyone can see where we're trying to go with this team and what we're trying to do, and I think it looks a lot better. And I think when you start looking down at your bench and looking like that's strong as well, I think it puts you in a really good place. It gives the lads the confidence. They're the ones who've got a performance to step over the white line. They're the ones that they need to feel confidence and feel that belief. And I think it comes from results. It comes from when people come through the door as well. It gives everyone a lift, and I think it did. And we need to make sure we continue on that upward curve now. As I said, it's one game. It's done now. We've put that game to bed. We're fully concentrated on Barnsley now, and let's get a good result. Then we can really enjoy the weekend.
Steve Morison there talking ahead of this evening's game against Barnsley. You just saw, as part of that highlight package, Jordan Hugel's goal after barely 6 minutes at the weekend, and encompasses exactly what Cardiff haven't done enough of this season. Neil Harris back in work at Gillingham. Let's talk about his favourite topic.
Absolutely.
First goal in championship games are so key, and we saw that at the weekend. Cardiff made a good start to the game against Blackburn. They had a good 90 minutes against Blackburn, just couldn't put the ball in the net, couldn't create chances. Started well against Bristol City, fell away badly, started really well at the weekend, scored the early goal, made such a difference.
It did. Congratulations to Neil Harris as well for his positive result last night. You and I think, had a healthy disagreement about Blackburn. I thought the structure was good, and I thought the intention of how we wanted to play was good. I thought the speed of ball movement had dropped off again from what I'd seen at West Brom, where I thought it was very, very good. There were times against Bristol City, albeit the second half collapsed, but there were times against Bristol City, particularly in the first 20 minutes, I thought, again, good speed of ball movement, and I think that's what you need to do in the Championship. And Cardiff started at a pace on Sunday, but you're absolutely right. There have been times where Cardiff have been dominant for periods under Steve Morison and not been clinical. And it was critical for them on Sunday that they were, and what a feel-good factor for Jordan Hugill. And I've seen him be very honest about the fact that he wasn't loved at West Brom, or he wasn't feeling the love, and he was at a low point. And the management of Steve Morison to get him in, put him straight in the starting lineup, and make him this focal point now. And it was very nice to see him score early, both for him as an individual and for Cardiff as a team. So you're absolutely right. Scoring goals at crucial moments of the game, particularly when you're on top. I thought against Blackburn, I agreed with you. The intention was still good, but we looked a bit sluggish moving the ball. What I want to see from this Cardiff City team is that speed of movement, and that's why going down both sides now, and what I mean by that, having a balanced wing back on the left as well as on the right, I think is important, because you can rotate that ball so quickly.
Talking about balance there on the flanks, I think many people, the reaction to the team selection, that when he went out on Twitter, not saying we should use Twitter as the yardstick for everything, but it was positive. I think the initial feedback was that's ballsy, and I think that's how it played out. I think more than anything, I thought it looked like a progressive team. We have been the only team in the Championship to regularly play a back three with three centre-halves in there. Millwall started doing it, then got injuries and were forced to look elsewhere with Ryan Leonard and people like that. But we were, for a team who regularly play three at the back, the only team doing it with three centre-backs. We looked a more progressive, modern outfit at the weekend, didn't we? Talking of that word balance, there was balance because of Perry's situation on the right to the three, but there was also balance amongst the midfield three.
There certainly was, and funnily enough, this for me all went back to the Nottingham Forest Cup game, one of Neil Harris's last game in charge, to reference him again, where you and I joked about the fact that Joe Bennett played as a centre-half, and Joe Bennett was never going to be a long-term answer as a centre-half, but it just looked like night and day. We had somebody who in the middle of the park was comfortable with the ball at his feet, taking it off the goalkeeper, speeding up that transition, from the defensive line through the midfield, etc., etc. I thought Perry NG was excellent on that the weekend. You need at least one centre-half, I think, who can do that. When you split, to take the ball, to be comfortable receiving the ball, to take it on the half-turn, to move it forward quickly but constructively to feet, to be able to take the ball in tight situations, almost like an auxiliary midfielder, particularly if you're going to play a three. I think McGuinness can do it as well. So all of a sudden, you're absolutely right, it just looked like a modern team. It's something you and I have been crying out for probably since that cup game against Forest, where we saw Joe Bennett do it. Yep, that day might have been a bit of a square peg in a round hole, but that was modern football, and we need to keep doing more of that. And I think it just improved us dramatically. And the midfield balance, as you rightly say, was fantastic. We're going to miss Joe Rules tonight. I thought he was so intelligent on Sunday. As good as Doughty was, and I was really impressed by him. I thought Rules made his afternoon easy.
We did a one-to-one job at times, didn't he, on Spence, which is bold from the manager again. Absolutely.
And they dovetailed, and I thought they worked as a pair very well, because normally we see sort of two sitting and one in front, or one sitting and two in front. I thought it was almost a flat three on Sunday, with Joe Rules coming out to the left-hand side. And that's a good call again from Steve Morison. And I do think Steve Morison analyses the game. Yes, again, he's going to make mistakes. He's admitted himself maybe in his press conferences he's made mistakes. He's been far too honest. But I do like the fact he always wants to try and affect games.
Let's next hear from one of our new signings then. Cardiff were busy at the back end of the transfer window. 5 new players in that last week, and the last of those arriving at 10 o'clock. At 10 o'clock on transfer deadline day, will wear the number 10 jersey, vacated by Kiefer Moore, and that is Uche Ikpeazu, signed from Middlesbrough on loan for the rest of the season. Let's hear what the new man has to say.
Uche, welcome to Cardiff City. It was a long and busy deadline day for everyone, but you must be delighted to get the deal over the line.
Yeah, definitely. I wasn't sure if I was going to go over the line, but in the end it did, so I was delighted to obviously come here.
And you're a player that the manager has been interested in for quite some time. What has he said to you last night and this morning?
Just wasn't to have me, really. Come in and help the team climb up the table. I know what I need to do as a striker, and so he's looking forward to having me, and I trained this morning, and the lads are buzzing to have me as well, which is obviously nice. When you come to a new club, you feel very welcome. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
And is there anybody in the squad that you've played with before in your career, or maybe players that you've played against a few times that you know of?
Yeah, Moro, he's a good friend of mine, to be fair. We've always kept in contact. I was with him at Reading, and I've injured him a couple of times. So when I saw him, I had to apologise again. I was a young player at Reading while he was just breaking through. So he was kind of one of those ones that we looked up to as young players at Reading. So he's having a great career. So it's good to be around, because he was always checking on me when I was at Reading. He was really good to me.
We've seen you play at Cardiff City Stadium already this season for Middlesbrough. But what can the Cardiff fans expect from you as a striker, as a player?
I think when everyone looks at me, they'll say, yeah, he's physically strong. And yes, I am. I think that is my strength. But I've got other stuff that I can do. My attributes are, my power, my strength. But I feel as if I can shoot off both feet, score goals, and obviously bring teammates into play. So I'm looking forward to doing that.
So you've played in the Championship for both Wycombe and for Middlesbrough. So you know all about the division, and you know how physically tough it can be.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it is a physical and it's mental. You have to be very, very focused, and you have to concentrate all the time. So it's not an easy division, especially you're in the position we're in at the moment in the league, which is I think is false from even training with the boys, because today, I know a few of the players, but today I can see from training we've got a lot of we've got a talented group. So they won on Sunday, and I feel as if me as well coming in will help them climb up the table. So that's my main goal. I'm looking forward to just get back playing and helping the team and feel part of something, which I haven't in recent times. So yeah, I'm excited.
And it's a quick turnaround for Barnsley tomorrow, but I'm sure you'll be hoping to get your Cardiff career off to a start with 3 points up there at Oakwell. Yeah,
I'm excited. Yeah, everything's happened so quickly, and yeah, it's going to be good. I think it's an important game for us, and we need to just get as far away as possible from that bottom three, and it'll be a good game, and hopefully we'll get the 3 points and we'll kick on again.
Uche Ikpeazu there, talking ahead of tonight's game at Oakwell between Cardiff City and Barnsley, and I've got John Donovan as ever alongside me. Let's turn our attention then to the visitors. We know the Cardiff lineup, just the one change for the Bluebirds. Joe Rawls dropping out with that slight knock. Will Vaulks coming in. A lot has changed for Barnsley. They're a team that they've only won 2 league games all season. They're desperately scrabbling for anything to hold on to and for anything to take effect. So in comes Domingos Quina in an attacking formation. We think they're going to play that formation. The Wales played so well, that midfield box. So Benson and Man City loanee Claudio Gomez sit in, Quina and Callum, it's so versatile, Callum Stiles ahead of them. But I mean, who knows, quite frankly, what you're going to get out of this team. That it's remarkable, isn't it, the drop off from a year ago.
It is. They lost a manager, but I also think they lost an identity as well. They brought in strikers who perhaps had raw potential, but none of them have hit the ground running. Demonte Cole is perhaps the most well known of them, but there's not a lot of goals in there. They're not creating an awful lot. And as I say, I just think with the Valérien Ismaël, he's lost his job today, but you knew the identity of his team. They were going to press aggressively, they were going to get the ball forward quickly, they were going to give you a turbulent time, they were going to try and outwork you, they were going to try and out-hustle you, and they were just going to try and pin you in areas, and it worked very, very well. I'm not sure what Barnsley are this season. They've had a huge influx of new players, and when you bring in players in, perhaps from mainland Europe, and you bring in bargains in, there's always a little case of potentially a hit, potentially a miss. Last season they got far more hits than misses. This season that hasn't been the case. And that's why I do think, and if I was a betting man, and I'm not, if they lost tonight, I'd have a little flutter on maybe an SOS call to Valérien Ismaël, just to see if he could bring that identity back in the last remaining months of the season. But I'm from everything that was so positive at Barnsley last year, I'm lucky to lose to Swansea in the playoff semi-final, gave it everything they got in that second leg. I think it's fair to say you and I were willing them on and in close communication about that one. But I'm not sure what this Barnsley team is, and hopefully Cardiff City can take advantage of that.
Yeah, I think you're right, isn't he? Because if you look at the starting lineup for Cardiff, you've got 3 players with undoubted quality. You just look at their CVs. Claudio Gomez on loan from Manchester City, Domingos Quina, who we know has played against us and torn us to pieces. You think of that game he started in the Premier League against us at Watford a few years ago, and he was just excellent in the middle of the park, scored a stunning goal as well. And Remy Vita playing on the left wing back on loan from the Bayern Munich system, although not in the first team squad. So there's clearly talent there. And then you've got two of the back 3, Michael Hellick, Mads Joel Anderson, and a player in Callum Stiles, fixtures of a really good back 5 unit last year. As you said, it's so difficult to put your finger on what's gone wrong, but they certainly don't press with the same intensity. They don't set that tempo that they did last year, and they don't seem to have the ability the Barnsley were able to do when you think of Mick McCarthy's first game in charge of Cardiff, where they just went route one and gave us a bit of a battery in that way as well.
Absolutely, and it's great they want to play, with principles, but again, I do think that they're not sure what they are this year, and sometimes you've got to go horses for courses. They didn't just lose that leader in Valerian Ismail, they also lost Mowat, who I'm a big fan of, and to lose that leadership in the middle of the park. Solbauer, I thought, did decent things for them as well. He departed, so you kind of lost a spine and the father of the team in Ismail, even though Valerian Ismail hadn't been there all that great deal of time and was building on decent work that had been done previously. He'd instilled a belief. He'd instilled a belief amongst his players and amongst the fans, and that was carried out by his lieutenants on the pitch, of which Alex Mowat was the chief conductor of that. It was no surprise when Mowat went to West Brom, and I think just Barnsley lost their soul. And yes, rebuilding, and again, it's good that they're taking chances on players, and their scouting system must be very good, almost a mini version of Brentford, because they've had a lot of good players come in there at bargain basement fees and really developed. But this year it's just gone astray a little bit. So I do think this is their last puncher's chance tonight, which is why I'm a little bit worried for Cardiff City, because it's a dangerous team out there tonight.
Thank you very much, John. That is your pre-match build-up this afternoon, or this evening rather, courtesy of myself and John Donovan ahead of this evening's game with Barnsley. We're going to throw you over now to an interview with new Cardiff signing who excelled really on debut on Sunday, young Alfie Doughty, playing on the left wing back. He's going to play the same position again this evening because we're about 10 minutes away from kick-off now. So thank you for joining us. Please stick around if you are purchasing the game this evening. You've got the company of myself and John on commentary. So let's listen to what Alfie Doughty has to say, and then we'll see you for live commentary in about 10 minutes' time.
Alfie, let's talk about your debut to start with. It was an incredible afternoon. The fans back at Cardiff City Stadium, and you got to see what it was all about, and we got a win on the board.
Yeah, I think as debuts go, I think that's the best anyone can ask for, really. And the fans were amazing as well. And I think this could be the start where it could be like we can push on. And Barnsley, for example, is I think we can push on to that.
I mean, like you said about Barnsley, it's a massive game. It's a team that are in a similar situation to we are, but we want to push forward now, look ahead, really be looking at the teams above us, not those below us, don't we?
Yeah, I think yesterday was a message to a lot of teams. I think Forest were one of the teams on form, and we kind of made them look not as good as they was. So I think next game is massive. But Forest is done, and now Barnsley is same game.
And I mean, from your perspective, how did you find being out there as part of that five-man defence? Obviously, it was a defence that's coming together for the first time, and one that actually looked really quite comfortable out there.
No, I felt very comfortable. Even everyone else, apart from the back five, was just doing exactly what they needed to do. And not as a back five, but the whole team was just, everyone had to do their jobs. And I think coming into this team, I think there's a lot of new players coming in, and I think they've all settled in well.
What do you expect from Barnsley as a team? I mean, they're fighting for their lives.
I think home as well. They're going to be hard. They're going to be difficult. But for us, it's all about focusing on ourselves. And if we perform the same way we did yesterday, then I think we'll have no problems.
I mean, you look ahead to February as a month. It's a season-defining month with the amount of fixtures we've got to face.
100%. If we take Liverpool away in the cup game, I think every game is just massive. Every game is we need a point on the board. Whether or not that's 1 or 3, I think. But I think that we can easily get a lot of games where we can have a win.
And we've got a bit more squad depth now. It's going to be crucial this month, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If we need to use a whole team, we need to use a whole team. That's where all the players come into the picture.
Top 5 in association with the Big Yellow Self-Storage Company.
Wilson. A little bit of space for Harry Wilson. Yes. Strikes a goal. Oh, what a goal. It's 3 and it's Harry Wilson. Get him off.
That is superb. Nothing less than what he deserves. That is the class he possesses. We talked earlier in the game about him being able to find pockets of playing space.
Now that's dominating the half. That's bad luck. Can't let it trouble for too long. Whittingham attacking now. So Mason, Conway in the area. Finds Gunnison.
What a goal that is! What a goal that is! Aaron Gunnison, 2-2 for the Iceman. Fantastic striker. That is absolutely sensational by Gunnison.
Inside his own half, he plays that long. Shackle heads it away, only to Emmanuel Thomas, turns it infield. Whittingham with the shot. Oh, what a goal from Peter Whittingham! What a way he won't get many better than that. Cardiff City 1, Barnsley 0, 21 minutes gone. Well, it's one of those ones that either go in the top left-hand corner or into the top, or into row Z of the Camden stand.
Good evening, welcome to Cardiff City TV.
Coleman, he'll shoot and he'll score! What in the area! And it's not
Good evening, welcome to Oakwell, home of Barnsley Football Club for this evening's game between the Bluebirds and the beleaguered Tykes, sat rather sequestered at the foot of the championship table. That always demeanour rather sums up the entire atmosphere around this place at the moment. It's been a tough old season indeed for a team, and let's not forget we're a couple of kicks away from the championship playoff final back in May, ousted at the semi-final stage by Swansea City, and they have had a terrible old time of things this season. Just 2 championship wins to their name the entire campaign. Welcoming this evening a buoyant Bluebirds outfit off the back of that huge 2-1 win over Nottingham Forest on Sunday, which was scarcely expected but very happily received in South Wales. I'm Ashley James, your commentator for this evening, and alongside me my co-commentator John Donovan.
Good evening, Ash. Good evening, everybody. You mentioned the pre-game show that it was a trip to Barnsley, which was the last day of football, normal football as we knew it before the pandemic really kicked in. Callum Patterson scoring that day in a rather fantastic forward roll celebration. Will Vokes also scoring. The Bluebirds were on a playoff charge that day, and it just seems so long ago. I remember news came through that Joe Allen had been injured for Stoke and was going to miss the Euros. Of course, they got postponed by a year. The world has changed so much, and for Barnsley, the world has changed so much in the last 12 months. Such a good team, such a high-press team under Valerian Ismail, but really struggling for an identity this year, Ash.
Yeah, a change start in 11 as well. You can see there Domingos Kina wearing number 28 comes into the starting lineup. We think it might actually be a midfield box in the way that, to reference Wales, the Wales used to play with 2 attacking midfielders in Stiles and Kina. For Cardiff, just the one change. It's enforced. Joe Rolls forced to drop out, picked up that knock late on against Nottingham Forest, which forced him off as a late substitute. On in his place came Will Vokes, and Will Vokes starts this evening. So just one change to the 11, one change to the matchday squad as well. Uche Ikpeazu, new signing on deadline day, comes onto the bench with Rolls dropping out with that injury. Steve Morison been a busy man over the last few days and weeks, more on his mobile phone than on the training ground, trying to get some deals over the line. Had a very good transfer window, didn't he? And as obviously the club as a whole, 5 new arrivals, and they certainly did breathe life back into this Cardiff season on Sunday.
Well, it's again referring to what we spoke about in the pre-game show last year. It just feels like a more modern football team, and I recognise, to use an American term, that most of these are rentals at the moment. They're loan players, and you couple that with players out of contract at Cardiff City, and maybe it'll be a huge rebuilding job in the summer. Maybe this team will look very different again, but for the objective that we have to achieve, which is namely safety this season, I think this team all of a sudden on Sunday, and again it was only one game, but all of a sudden just seems so much more equipped to cause problems for teams, to be more balanced, to look after the ball more, and hopefully that positivity will continue. And just before the game starts, I can confirm I commentated on the under-23s game last week. Steve Morison was there. Not sure he watched too much of the game, Ash. He was on the phone most of the time.
Not surprised, yeah. He went to the wire.